Steve Weiner here from GetRubix.com. Now that we finally reached 500 subscribers, we're going to start doing advertisements. Although I was told they don't have to be real ads. So I'd like to introduce you to the Furniture Fridge Friend. Folks, do you know that more than 99.9% of people shop for furniture without a fridge friend? I mean, that's insane. Just out there looking around a furniture store, not getting advice from a refrigerator you can trust. You don't have to worry anymore. Because with the Furniture Fridge Friend, now every time you go shopping, you can be met with a friendly, informative refrigerator that knows furniture, knows you, and know what's going to look good in your house. So if there were a website for this, we give it to you right now, or a phone number to call. Why doesn't anyone use, there's no there's no infomercials where you call up anymore? Those were so good. What, we don't have to do ads? Well, I thought that was the whole point. Today we're going to show you how you can get Intune and Autopilot ready for Windows 11 adoption. It's 2024. It's time to get Windows 11 out there. There may be a few quirks and things you want to work out. Maybe a lot of things are user experience based, so we're going to show you how to solve for just a few of those today. I mean, I would absolutely bring a refrigerator friend with me to shop for furniture, but that's me.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, so some of the things we're going to address today with Windows 11, we're actually, you know what? Let's work backwards. I'm going to show you a machine here that's been enrolled, and just kind of show you the end state of where we want to get to. So as you can see here, got Windows 11. Right away, you'll notice got my start menu on the left. A lot of users request this. Personally, I think I like it in the center, but whatever. It's really helpful for people, especially, we're creatures of habit. So how do you get that there automatically on the left? That's one thing we're going to look at. Another thing you'll notice, I don't have the chat icon down here. Now, while it's very easy to disable the icon, it's not so easy to get rid of the app itself. So if we search chat here, you see I don't have it here. So we actually were able to uninstall the built-in chat, which is a nice touch. Speaking of uninstalling things, some new, we'll call it bloatware that comes included. You'll notice things like Clipchamp, the gaming app. So we're able to kind of pull those out from here so they don't stick. There's a few others here we could pull out too, but Clipchamp is gone, and it will not be coming back. And finally, when I right click, I got the classic context menu, and this is something we've touched on before, but I figure since we're doing a Windows 11 episode, we'll do it there. And this makes things really nice and easy when getting users acclimated. So how do we set these things? Where can we put them all? Kind of hopping back over to our lab here. So let's take a look at the Autopilot branding package. Now, if you don't know what Autopilot branding is, it's created by Michael Niehaus. We first started using it 2017, 2018 when Autopilot was getting going as a way to kind of package all of your scripts and settings to push that you can lock during ESP and kind of set things the way you'd want to have them. So this is a package we've used before. I've renamed it to Windows 11 branding. And I'm going to kind of go through and we're going to talk about the solution for all these things. Then we're going to throw them into Autopilot branding. All right, so why don't we start with one of the more difficult ones? Let's start with removing teams. So I'll call this chat uninstall.ps1 since that's actually what it's called. It's called chat. And let's go ahead and open that up. Okay, so uninstalling chat can be a little tricky. And this is because it's managed by a registry node that we can't get to as system. So what it actually is, so I'm going to write this out here first. So it's actually HKLM software, Microsoft, Windows, current version, and communications. Okay, so that's the node. And in order to add the line we want, which is we want to add the value of configure chat auto install. So if we set this early enough, it just won't show up. It's a reg d word, and we're going to set the data to 0. Force, and then we could probably do like an out host. In fact, if I'm writing the whole thing, we'll just do a reg exe add. Okay, but here's the thing. If we run this in a PowerShell scripted system, it's not going to work. That's because it is owned by the trusted installer service. So how do we do this as trusted installer? So what we're actually going to do is we're going to use the task system, and we're going to do this in real time. So let's do this. Let's put this aside for a minute. We're actually going to make a variable called action, and we're going to make that action be a new scheduled task action, execute, and we're actually going to call PowerShell from within here, and the argument is going to be execution policy bypass command, and then in these double quotes we're going to actually cut this and we're going to paste it in here. So that's going to be the action variable. Action is basically the action of the task, right? So this is as if you were to, set that task manually. So now that we have that, we got to do a few other things. So we need to make a scheduled task principal, right? So how is this going to run, essentially? So at first, we're going to set it up with just the built-in admin group, and we're going to say new scheduled task principal group ID. It's going to be built-in administrators. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to create a new COM object for the scheduled service. So new object. Some of this is a little wonky, so just hang in there with me. Schedule service. Okay. And we're going to connect to that. All right. So now that we have that created with the principal, you know what? I did skip a step. Sorry. That's fine. You can create that service. So what we're going to do is before service, though, let's go back and let's register that task. Register scheduled task. So it's going to be task name. We can call it chat uninstall, or I'll call it uninstall chat. Uninstall chat, I think is what I called it. Action is going to be the actual action, and the principal we're setting it with is that built-in admin group. So now we connect to this new COM object, and we're going to say the user variable is NT service trusted installer. So that's the level we need. Now from SVC, we're going to say SVC, help if I can type, get folder, current, basically the folder it's in. Okay. And then the task is going to be folder, folder, get task, and that's going to be uninstall chat. So now we can call that task. Now what we can do is we can start the task with the user we want, which is trusted installer. So this is going to be, let's see here. Yeah, task, which is the task we just got from the variable above. Run, executable. So we're going to put these values in 0, 0, and the last value is going to be user. So meaning we're going to execute this task with this user context from the SVC here. So once we do that, we're going to just make sure it has enough time to run. So 5 seconds should be more than enough. When we didn't have this, it would fail because it would kill itself kind of too fast. Because the next line is task stop 0. And then finally, you can unregister the scheduled task. Task name, uninstall chat. And we'll put a confirm false at the end of that. Great. So we should be able to take this, and you could either deploy this right from PowerShell through Intune. If you want to wrap it in something, you can. You would just have to add a detection rule, which could be the registry. Honestly, I would say just deploy this as a script through Intune, right? Running a system. So I'm going to go to, new edge splash screen. I'm going to go to Steve Capacity. We can go to devices, scripts and remediation, platform scripts, and we can add Windows 10 and later. So we could say M365, Win11, remove built-in chat. And then we could just literally point to what we've done, which is chat uninstall. Leave it on running a 64-bit. Logged on credentials is no. Actually, and we want no for the signature check. And you could just assign that to your Autopilot devices. I already have it. Script file name and content. Oh, I didn't save. It actually helps if you save. So let's go back to script settings. Okay, that takes care of that. What we want to do next is we want to open up our Autopilot branding script so we can add some of the other pieces. So I'm actually going to open up Autopilot branding here. And I won't go through the whole thing because this has gone over very well on the GitHub page, and I'll link to that below. But basically what we want to be able to do is we want to be able to move that start menu over. So an interesting thing about Autopilot branding we do here is, and you can see we even have the an example of it here where we're disabling the chat icon, which is we were doing before we uninstalled chat. So if you just want to, we're going to leave that on, but if you just want to disable that, you can do it here. But one thing I want to show you is, so you can see there's a lot of things here that say HKLM temp user, and what is that, and why do we do it? We actually do it in a few places. So one of the cool things about Autopilot branding is there are some settings that you can only apply to the current logged in user. Well, what if we want to set that as a default preference for every logged in user? Okay, and we can't do it with a SID because technically at this part in Autopilot there is no logged in user. So this is a very cool way to do it. We actually load this HKLM temp user node using the C user's default NT user. And once that's loaded, we can just set all these paths in here as if they were the current user, even though we're starting with HKLM temp user. So again, things like some of the search bar stuff we've already done on the taskbar. These are user type settings. It's used heavily to modify the theme in the beginning. So let me go through this with you. I'm going to go through it separately, and then we'll kind of bring it back in here. So let's create a new text file, and let's make that PowerShell. We'll just kind of use this as some scratch, right? So we use regexe add we load HKLM temp user, and that is C users default NT user DAT. And at the bottom we unload it because we don't need to keep it there. We unload, where do we unload? It should be the same thing. You could just unload it, out host. And then in between, you're free to go ahead and add all your settings. We do this multiple times in the script. Probably could clean it up to do it once. We'll just leave it there for now. So in this case, okay, so what I want to do is I want to do the restore old context menu. That's the right click piece. I want to shift start menu to left. That should be it for now. So to restore, let's start by restoring the old context menu. So that's going to be a reg.exe add. And instead of, if you look up the property, it's actually HKCU, but instead of that, it'll be HKLM temp user, right? Because that's going to be the same as whoever logs in. Now we're free to do software, classes, CLSID, and then in brackets, you got to get this. I'm going to type this out for you, and it'll also be below, but it'll be 86. Hold on, let me blow up my notes because I'm not going to be able to see this. That's what happens when you start getting old here. 86CA1AA0 -34AA -4E8B -A509 -50C905 BAE 2A2. I would recommend you copy and paste that from wherever I end up posting that. And then it's in proc server 32 force and just VE, and you can out host. Great. Now that'll take care of the right click and context. All right. So to then shift the start menu over to the left, we're going to do that again. Reg.exe add HKLM temp user. Okay, now this time we go to software, classes, not classes, sorry, Microsoft, Windows, current version, Explorer, advanced. The value we're adding is taskbar AL, stands for taskbar alignment. The type is a reg dword. The data is 0, because 0 is left, 1 is middle. F is force, and then out host. Cool. So if we wanted to, let's bring those in a little bit. So I want to go ahead and add them to our autopilot branding. I'm going to copy, and I should be able to put them in right before we unload. So next to these other pieces we're doing, there we go. So we threw them right in there. So they should fit fine. The temp user is loaded before it's unloaded. We're good. One of the last things we talked about was removing bloatware. So for example, a clipchamp is something I get asked about removing all the time. So the script actually has a built-in function that removes bloatware that we specify. Now inside of the, I'm just going to show you this here. So inside the folder, there's an accompanying config XML file. So let's look at that. This is basically just data for a bunch of functions inside the script. And I'll show you that call on this. So for example, for each provisioning package and config remove apps app, that's this list, config remove apps app, it goes through and it removes them. There's a piece here that calls out to OneDrive, right, to get the latest OneDrive download. Config OneDrive setup, config, here you go, OneDrive setup. There's a piece that sets the time zone. You can enable features, disable features, optional features, time zone. So basically the idea is you're modifying the XML and these functions are running against it. So all you would have to do in that case is figure out the app you want to get rid of. So on my machine, I have clipchamp. So a good way to get the display name for that is you can go to PowerShell, and you should be able to do, well, let me run this as admin. Get appx provision package online. And I would recommend piping that to OGV for out grid view, and you'll be able to see everything you have. So there it is, clipchamp.clipchamp. So that's the part I want to add. So I could just go down here now and add another app line. And inside, just type clip champ. Was that capital? I don't remember. No, clipchamp. No, I don't think that matters, but just to be safe, clipchamp.clipchamp. That'll remove that. If there's any others I want to get rid of, I could just pick from the list. I know the Microsoft Gaming app is a popular one. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. So that's Microsoft.gaming app, if you haven't already. So we could just go here and duplicate that and change the middle. Okay. Microsoft.gaming app. There we go. And whatever else you'd like to do there. For information on deploying the Autopilot branding, we actually just deploy it as an app. So I will show you in Windows. Autopilot branding, it's a Win32 app. You put a little icon there. You're deploying it the way you would deploy any other PowerShell script as an Intune Win, execution policy bypass, and you reference the script. There's a built-in detection rule. So very easy to deploy. I won't go through the packaging process, but with those pieces there, your machine now is going to look like this, right? You're going to have your context menu be the default. Your start menu is going to be on the left. Clipchamp and the gaming app were gone. And chat isn't here, right? Not only is it not on the icon, it's not installed. So really good way to start cleaning up Windows 11. There you go. I'm going to drop some links below, both to the Autopilot branding page, my script repo, where I have the scripts for the context menu and on installing Teams. You can put them in there. And let me know. Hop in the Discord if you're deploying Windows 11. If you're having challenges, would love to know how you're doing with that. So later.
5, 4, 3.